now that I'm challenger, I should make more videos, right? Except what actually changed? I mean, from a marketing perspective, I could, put like challenger or whatever in the title, but I don't really care that much about advertising. Like, it's not like, it helps me if people watch or not. But still, I felt like getting challenger back before doing more videos, so presumably something actually did change. And, it seems to me that I feel more qualified somehow to say, like, this is what I think and it's correct, even though the actual content of the stuff that I'm saying wouldn't be any more right if I was rank 1 or bronze 5. Um, like, if you just take the statement, Ardent Sensor is great on Sona, the person who's saying that doesn't make it right or wrong. And actually, if you were to disagree with me and call me like a silver player, that would be probably some form of fallacy, even because you're attacking me instead of the argument itself. So maybe I'm wrong for caring about what my rank is before making a video. I don't know. But I think there is a plausible explanation, which is that you can theorycraft all you like about, how to play the game and try to come up with stuff with actually playing the game. But to actually prove something works, you have to be able to like actually show that it works. And it's not, enough to just say that Ardent Sensor sounds good with Sona's W. You have to actually be able to prove it by like getting Challenger, building Sensor on Sona, which means it works. Um, and so, that's sort of the solution to the problem, but I don't think it's just my problem. Like, I think the dilemma of, like, should I listen to this guy because he's Challenger is a problem in a lot of places. Like, for example, on Summoner School, if you have a Challenger flare, you can say whatever you want, and as long as it's not, like, obviously wrong, people will take it as, like, gospel. So a while ago, I chose to disable my own flare, but I could see leaving it up too. And in hindsight, disabling it might actually have been kind of like selfish, because like the thing is, if people see it, they're more likely to just like accept whatever you say is true. And so, assuming I'm giving good advice, it would help people more if I had the flare enabled, because more people would be able to follow the good advice. But again, I think I have the more selfish reasons of posting. I just think like, oh, this is interesting, or I think this is how the game should be played. And Summoner School is a nice place to write that down. But with the flare activated, people don't care about the actual content as much. So, anyways, I mean, I just sort of asserted that as a general rule, it would be more helpful for people like to know I'm Challenger, and that assumes not only that they'll um, pay more attention to the advice that way, but also that they'll be justified in doing so, meaning that, they're not wrong to assume that because I'm Challenger, my advice is right. And I do think that's correct in a way, but it implies maybe a sort of uncomfortable truth about what league advice boils down to. Because I think it would be nice if you could just be like, okay, here's an argument for why it's better to rush Ardent Sensor than Redemption on Sona. And based on the strength of the argument alone, I can convince you to rush Sensor. Or, like, in other words, you don't have to just accept that this is the right decision because I'm telling you it is. Like, you can actually see for yourself how this decision makes you in the game. And I mean, I prefer if that was what league discussion was, but I don't think that's actually how it is. I think the way it actually works is more like, I'm good, this is how I play, this is the right way to play, so, I can try to explain it if you want, but at some level, you just have to trust that I'm right because I'm good. Like, it's literally just like, hey, look, I'm Challenger. If I was wrong, I would be Challenger, and if you disagree with me, I'll just say a version of, like, Stay Silver Kid, or, however polite it is, depending on what mood I'm in, but, like, the underlying claim is still the same. It's just that, like, this is what I think, and look, it works, so I'm right. And, like I said earlier, this is sort of an uncomfortable truth, at least for me, because I like the idea that you could say, Ardent Sensor stats and passive synergize really well with Sona's abilities, and you could figure out that that's the right, that it's correct just from the statement without, even knowing that the person who says it is Challenger. And if someone said, like, I think it's better to rush Redemption as a first item, you wouldn't have to resort from calling them, like, hard stuck gold or diamond or whatever to show them that they're wrong. And I mean, I made an attempt to do that when I can, but I think that this is just the uncomfortable truth that League just isn't the type of game where it's always often or like always possible to show that um, a statement is right or wrong just on its own merit. Because I mean, like if we were playing, tic-tac-toe or something, it would be easy to just point to a move and be like, this move was a mistake. If you put your O there, you open up a way for the X player to guarantee that they win. And it doesn't matter who you are. You could be the best tic-tac-toe player in the universe, and you couldn't dispute that's right or wrong. But I just don't think League is that type of game where it's so easy to actually understand what makes you win or lose. Like, so people do the best they can and like act what they're saying, stand on its own. But like, really, it's just an assertion that I'm good at the game and I think this because League is just sort of too complicated. Like when I say I think Jana is really strong, I can try to support that with some numbers or an explanation of why, but that stuff is all pretty useless without an unreasonable amount of context. And in the end, my argument just comes down to I'm a challenger Jana man, and this is what I think. I guess I'm not actually presenting any solution here. I'm just trying to bring attention to the problem, and it isn't even necessarily a problem, it's just how it works, that it's too hard to evaluate what people say on the basis of, their argument, so it just comes down to their rank. And I mean, obviously that doesn't work in every case. Like if I was to say I got Challenger playing Janna and Sona, so this is how to play Warwick, that would be wrong. Plus, you have to be careful even if someone says Challenger, because like Challenger at the beginning of the season in Flex Queue in Turkey is pretty different from currently Challenger in Korean solo queue. So overall, I think it's best to check their OPGG first. But if you see someone is currently challenger and got there by playing a champion, then I think it's fair enough to accept what they say on that basis, unless it's obviously wrong. Just because it's probably impossible to actually properly go through their argument. So I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, unless you have time to actually read a book, you have to just judge it by its cover.